so I'm going to try to be quick if possible. So, one, thank you very much for your continued support and endorsement of me, assuming that you make that decision. And like Jerry, it's me or nobody. So even if you're not wild about me, it's probably too late. But if you want to run against me, I keep asking people, anybody want to run against me? And nobody has said yes yet. So I'm sort of thinking it's okay in this room. I have been the senator now for 22 years, so you really should be thinking about getting rid of me. Well, thank you. I am the finance chair, which, as I always explain to people, it's an enormous amount of work, and 9 out of 10 people are angry at you all the time because you have to say no 9 out of 10 times. And yet, it's a critical responsibility to have a balanced budget for the state of New York and to try to have the most rational decision-making possible in how you spend the money and how you raise the money. And that could be 8 hours of soliloquy by me, so that's where I'll stop there. I will tell you that some of the issues that I think the legislature must deal with this year in the context of the budget and legislation is affordable housing and how we're going to build it and save it. It is ensuring that we don't just sort of end up with a destroyed healthcare system because we are expending an enormous amount of money on healthcare, but we're still not getting very good results. We have hospitals that are on the brink of bankruptcy, and we have hospitals who are constantly buying up more land to build more hospitals. So there's a real inequity in our hospital system. And I also personally support Jerry's point about having a Medicaid for all model in this country, but we aren't getting that in Albany this year or in Washington. Medicare, sorry, for all system, but we're not getting it, so we have to confront and deal with that issue. Right now, some of the hot issues, I know I was on the phone half the day with the mayor's people. They're very concerned about mayoral control and losing it, and I don't believe we're going to deal with it in the budget because the Department of Education is having a report done. We're going to get it in the legislature March 31st. The budget's due April 1st. How the hell will we make a decision on mayoral control a day after we get the bill? So the proposed interpretation of what we could be doing better. So I don't believe we will be doing that then, but we will be dealing with it because mayoral control technically ends June 30th.
Wow.
So either we come up with something else, we allow it to continue, or come the end of school year, nobody knows what the heck is going on for September, and that can't be. Obviously, and I should have started actually where Vanessa started and where Jerry highlighted. Yes, every election is said it's the end of the world. This one really can be. Because unlike 1860, where it probably was just the end of our democracy, I would argue if we get it wrong in 2024, huge portions of the world will never be the same again. So we have a responsibility to do everything we can to make sure this election goes correctly at the federal level for the White House and Congress. And even though I am a lowly state senator and Alex Borres is a wonderful new assembly member, when I've been walking around talking to people, I'm saying, well, of course I would like you to support me. Of course, I really appreciate your petitioning for me. But otherwise, don't listen to me. Focus on the federal government. This is the most important time to focus on what's happening at the federal level. So my only pitch for people remembering to vote in November is please, when you go to vote and when you're petitioning people, remind them that when they go to vote, they need to turn the ballot over. Because in New York State, we have a constitutional decision on the back side of the ballot. And it's what I'm very committed to because I wrote it with Rebecca Seawright. She carried it in the Assembly. I carried it in the Senate. It had to go through two houses twice in 2 different sessions, as Jerry was explaining, constitutional amendments in New York. And what this constitutional amendment would do, it's the expanded full equal rights amendment. It would modernize our state constitution to establish equal rights and non-discrimination for everyone. So abortion rights, pregnancy rights, LGBTQ rights, disability rights. Do you know that while religion And race are protected in the existing New York State Constitution. Ethnicities are not. So I talk to people who define themselves as Latina and Hispanic all the time, and I say, you know, you're not protected in the Constitution. They go, yes, we are. You know, it's like African Americans and Latinos. I go, no, there's nothing about having a language of commonality that happens to be Spanish. That gives you absolutely no protections in our Constitution. And people are like, are you kidding? I go, no. But nobody's read the Constitution, like since 1938, so they don't realize how bad the language in our Constitution is. So we went through a long, hard fight to get this through both houses twice, and we need the people of New York to vote for it. And I believe if they read it, they will vote for it. But the challenge, nobody looks at the back of the ballot. They think, okay, I'm checking off. You know, I'll check off president, I'll make sure I vote for all the Democrats, and then they'll stick it in the machine. No, they have to turn it over and vote yes on the resolution. So that is my one pitch for the important role of clubs and your commitments to democracy, that we've got to remind everybody, you have to please turn over the ballot and vote for the resolution. That's really fairly crucial to our future. And it's exactly for the same reasons that Jerry was already talking about. We know what the Supreme Court did. I am thrilled with my record on passing pretty much every major piece of reproductive health law in the state of New York in the last 20 years. And I'm proud of it because we passed the Women's Health and Reproductive Health Act in 2019 when the Democrats took the majority in the Senate, and it gave us the strongest protections in the country. And in fact, even though, yes, there's Dobbs, and yes, there are insane states everywhere, and yes, that ruling that just came out of the South today, it wasn't just about in vitro fertilization. It turns out they're actually saying that a fertilized egg in a test tube is a pregnancy.
No, it's a life. They said it's a life.
But they also said it's a pregnancy without a womb. I don't know about you all, but that doesn't work that way. You don't get to have a pregnancy without a womb involved, okay? So these people are out of their minds. But this is spreading throughout the country, which is why, even though we have the strongest protections in New York state law of any state in the country, and I'm proud of that, we have to get it in our Constitution, and we have to get other states to get the same thing in their constitutions. And so this is just the continuing move forward. Jerry was also talking about marijuana on the national level. I also spent 7 years of my life, God knows why, working on the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act to make marijuana legal and to decriminalize and expunge the records in New York State of people who were caught up in marijuana use, to expand medical marijuana, to regulate the CBD and hemp world. I say God knows why, because no good deed goes unpunished. I'm really proud of that law, and something goes wrong every day, and it's my fault. But that's the story of being a legislator also. You get people mad at you, you make mistakes, you try to fix them. People decide to sue even though they have no basis for the lawsuits. And yes, I can guarantee you we're gonna get all these illegal weed shops closed. This is the nightmare of our lives, and we're gonna fix that in the state budget as well. And I said I was gonna be really short, so the 20 other things I'm probably talking about, I'm not gonna talk about. But I do want everyone to know that if you wanna go on your web tomorrow night, your internet, I'm hosting with many other electeds, including Alex Flores, a webinar on why casinos in urban, densely populated areas probably aren't the best idea. Or to put it much more bluntly, I'm anti-gambling. I've always been anti-gambling, and I've fought casinos, and I've lost. And it's sort of like that horse is out of the barn, and I don't care if anybody likes to go gambling, that's fine. But casinos in Manhattan are a terrible idea, and there are 5 of them that are going to be submitting applications to be here, as in other boroughs, but I think particularly in Manhattan, it's a really bad use of our land and other things. So this event tomorrow night, and I've been accused by some, is this is a biased event. I go, no, yes, it is a biased event. It says I don't like casinos. I have some experts coming who will explain why I don't like casinos. So if you're interested in hearing why some people think a casino, or 5 of them in Manhattan, are a really bad idea, tune in tomorrow night. I'm gonna stop. Thank you so much.
Thank you.